I'm about to show you 5 hidden gems in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. It's January and most of the crowds from Christmas and New Year's have left. So you might wonder, is January a good time to come here? One of my favorite things about winter in the mountains is that with the leaves all off of the trees, you really get a better view of things that were hidden before. The views are amazing. You really end up seeing some things that surprise you, some things that you didn't even know were there before. So, what will the weather be like? Well, in East Tennessee, the weather can be very unpredictable, but in January, you'll probably have a good chance of snow. But on this particular day, it was warm as spring. It was probably in the 50s all day long. So I drove to Townsend and I started there, starting at Townsend, heading towards Gatlinburg through the Smoky Mountains. The first hidden gem you come to is a swimming hole called the Townsend Y. The Y is a mountain version of the beach, and it's on the banks of the little river. There's a good amount of paved parking, and it's great for kids and families and tubing. It's very popular in the summer, so go early for the best spot. No alcohol is allowed, but you can bring a cooler. Don't forget to bring floaties and life jackets for kids due to some of the parts being very deep, but mostly it's very shallow. You'll also want to bring chairs, towels, and sunscreen. Of course, in January, I had the place all to myself, although I'm not going swimming today. The Y is easy to find on Google Maps. It's about 5 minutes from Townsend and 40 minutes from Gatlinburg. As far as wheelchair access for the Y, the parking is great, but you'll definitely need someone to help you maneuver over the rocks to get to the actual water. Okay, I'm on my way to the next hidden gem. But on the way, about 4 or 5 miles towards Gatlinburg, after I left the Y, you'll see Meigs Falls, a pretty little waterfall on the right-hand side, so be on the lookout for it. The next hidden gem is one of my favorite spots, and it's called the Sinks. What's unique about the Sinks is it's a waterfall you can drive right up to. There's also paved parking and overlooks and a gorgeous trail called Meigs Creek Trail. This is not a good place for swimming though. Although you might see other people swimming there, I do not recommend it, and you'll see a lot of signs warning about it. This waterfall is wheelchair accessible from the parking lot, but the trail is not. There are several steps up that lead to get to the trail. Now, there is a great story about how the sinks were created. Back in the 1800s, before it was a national park, this area was huge for the logging industry. They would cut down the trees and send them down the river. One day, there was a log jam that was so bad they decided to use dynamite to blow it up. The blast was so powerful that they actually changed the course of the river, and that's what created the sinks. The trail is also gorgeous. Meigs Creek Trail is several miles long, and you can go as far as you want and turn around and come back. The Sinks and Meigs Creek Trail are about 12 miles from Gatlinburg. It's time to go to the next hidden gem, so I'm leaving here and going 2 miles towards Gatlinburg, and I'm heading to Metcalf Bottoms picnic area. Here you'll find excellent spots for picnics and swimming and tubing along the little river. They also have great bathroom access and great parking. This picnic area includes covered pavilions, and you can even bring your dog. Now, dogs are not allowed on the trails, but they are allowed in the picnic area, and they must be on a leash at all times. It's also very wheelchair accessible. Now, in addition to all this, there's an easy hiking trail that leads to a very historic area.
I love it. Look at this flower. What would you do if we saw a bear right now? I'd probably.
This includes the Little Greenbrier School built in 1881 that you can actually walk inside. There's also an old cemetery across from it. And if you go even further, you can visit the old Walker sisters' homestead. This authentic log cabin from the 1800s holds much history and many stories of the Walker family and the famous Walker sisters.
Horton. 1893. Wow.
Heading east again towards Gatlinburg is the next hidden gem, Laurel Falls. This is a paved trail that leads to a waterfall. It gets really crowded in the summertime, so January is a great time to come to Laurel Falls. Now, even though it's paved, the pavement is pretty choppy in some areas, so it's a little bit difficult to maneuver with a stroller or a wheelchair. It's just under a mile and a half to get to the falls. Now, this trail is great for kids and families, but you do need to hold on to your little ones because there are some steep drop offs. Also, pets are not allowed on this trail. As I was about to head home, a storm started to roll in with high wind warnings. Because of a bad traffic jam, I decided to take a detour and ended up going through downtown Gatlinburg in the rain. But one thing I always like to do is get off the beaten path.